Yo, it's DaBLackKing and welcome back. Welcome back to DaBLackKing Plays Final Fantasy VII. Last time I did a bit of optional things, and then this time we are going to continue on the main plot line. But in the meantime, we would be also checking out the shops. Either way, I will meet you outside of Font Condor. Fort Condor. I knew what I was trying to say, but I slipped up and just rolled with it just as a hilarious joke just to kind of fly back at myself for mistakenly calling it font. Either way, I'll see you a little bit. Alright, so we're here at where we need to be, but I want to go over a few things. I find it ironic that whenever they find beds, there's like, you don't find as many anywhere. As many characters as you have, even though you may not have them in your party, but let's say you want to rest up or whatever. I don't know how it works. Randomly, they do get rested up. Sometimes they don't. I don't understand how it works. But anyway, they don't always get rested, which means you have to take them out of the PHS, the phone call service, or whatever the hell it's called, and ring them up. And basically rest up. At this point, even though I have plenty of tents, but that's for when you can't rest up. But anyway, if you decide, this is the next thing I want to go over before we go on. If you decide to go ahead and do some battling, which is not a bad idea, but you don't really need to. It wouldn't hurt, but it's not good. You don't need to at this point. We'll be getting plenty of experience as we go along per, things as we fight. But anyway, don't worry about healing up because we're getting ready to heal up anyway because a certain advantage is going to apply here. So, as you already know, we've already done the rescue little girl and everything. But right at this point in timeline, we haven't done that. Not on this playthrough. But at least during this recording session. But we will. And I'm going to skip it out. As per normal. So, anyway, let's go on inside, shall we? As you can see, we're in Union area. I did not mean to give them a phone call. I think we got 3 more characters coming up. Yeah, that in total we would have 9 characters. That's pretty crazy to think that. I don't know how that works, but whatever. There we go. Okay, what I did is this. This will run down, blah blah blah. See a little bit. Alright, so I walked over here instead of running. This house, actually, I didn't think we could come in here. I remember not being able to get in here. But apparently, because I think it was something to do with you couldn't, basically come in here without someone's permission. And that was a person standing in front of it. Well, either way. There's no point even going in there anyway right now, so yeah. I have never, that was actually the first time I've actually walked inside that building. Officially. Not just during this LP, but during this entire session. But basically, without doing the whole events of doing the rescuing the little girl and everything else. And we still haven't done that yet. Alright, I'll meet you in a little bit. Alright, I believe this is our very first shop. Unfortunately, I think this is the only shop in town. So, I don't know. At least it's here, anyway. So, you won't, you'd better buy it. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see, the Bacillus trade. Mithril, we have plenty of them. I guess I can stock up on these because they come in handy too. Let's see. 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. What the? Okay. 86, 87, 88. Alright. 85, 86, 87, 88. Yeah, plenty of tents for now. Alright. So yeah, I bought some more items. Alright. Now there's something about this house. I thought you had to be here to get this snowboard or whatever. It turns out I could have sworn I remember getting a snowboard from here. I don't even know how I did it, but I did. Didn't exactly steal it, but I acquired it. So don't ask me. And as you can see, nothing going on there. So alright. There. Okay. Where'd you come from? Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, this is Simon on King Elevator. Don't be snooping around here. You know, I find it odd that this building right here you can never go into. I guess it doesn't serve much purpose other than decoration. Alright. Ever since Shinra built it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Wow, this is rare. We almost never hear of anyone better than the Shinra people visit this town. There's actually this woman that's supposed to be in front of the building. You can't hardly see her right now, but that's who we're talking to. I just happened to catch her. By catch her, I was able to finally, talk to her. Where I can get her to turn around to talk to me. See? A lot of people look like that anyway. I guess we can't go into this house either. Guess we can't go that way either. You know what's weird is whenever he stands up, instead of hunching over, this guy over here, yeah, you can't go through. You can't even go back past him until he hunches over. Makes no damn bit of sense to me, but whatever. And believe it or not, I had a hard time trying to get past this guy. Oddly enough, I do seem to remember having a hard time passing this guy before too, but anyway. You know what's odd though about this whole entire thing is that you never ever have to use this dolphin ever again. And it's like the one time that they teach you a new technique, or techniques I should say, one involving a dolphin and another one, doing a life rescue, which is not that much important to the entire game, but you actually have to do it. It's ridiculous. It's like that whole damn squats thing. I mean, and you think squats is tough. I mean, literally. this is not optional. You actually have to keep doing it if you don't manage to do it. Sometimes at a random chance, there's like maybe 1 to 15% chance you can actually successfully pull it off. And actually do. I've done it where I've done it in one shot and never actually had done it. But there was like the first time I remember playing, I had a hell of a time doing it. And ever since, even the other times, I've also had. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. There's been other times I actually successfully pulled it off. But again, it's like maybe a 1 to 15% chance you can actually be able to pull it off in one shot. Which means it can happen, but don't count on it. You know, just like all you can do is try to go for it, and that's it. You know, like when you have to like give her mouth-to-mouth CPR. And I'll tell you what, man, that is just a pain in the butt. I forgot how painful that is. I mean, it's not, of course, it's not as painful as other things, but it's still just as painful. Just like climbing that damn thing. Well, not climbing the thing, but getting onto that little thing that falls back and forth, you know. You seen when we had to go after they, what is that thing? You know, where we had to get batteries for and all that. You had to go through that stuff. You know, even if you bypassed all the treasures, you still have a hell of a time trying to get to the damn thing. You can make it. I've had it happen in one point, but the first time, man, you know what I did? I went back and I ate some, and I kept going and eating some, or had Cloud eat some food. Finally, I was able to pass that sumbitch, but I didn't do it every single time. Actually, I did it quite a lot of times, and I didn't. When after that, I just like stopped doing that. You know, where you know that shop down there in the sector 7 slums, not the 7. I guess sector 6 slums. Well, anyway, you know, you go up there and you go to that one shop. The first time there, they give you a ticket once you tell them whatever, and it makes no difference. As I have said everything in the book, and there's only 3 options. It really doesn't matter. You'll still get the coupon anyway, and it really doesn't really affect what item you can get. It really doesn't. You just all you do is you select it. Like you can complain, you can say how nice it is, or you can say absolutely nothing, and you still get the ticket. It's crazy that that's the way they do that. Like, okay. What is the point of these other options then? I mean, just say, I don't know. Anyway. Now, it's important to note that if you are low on health when you're fighting this boss, make sure that you're not, like, low health, I mean, or, like, where I'm at on low health, and have, like, low health, because it's not a good idea. Right now, I'm fully healed, but if you'd have gone out and leveled up, which is a good idea, I recommend it. You don't have to level up too much, but at least get 1 or 2 levels. Recommend it. Just gain a little bit more HP. Like, you know, so you can stand a chance against this guy. If you have to have on low HP instead of worrying about, you know, healing up, I would definitely recommend that. And that way, you know, and don't worry about healing up. You can actually, if you get low, you can heal during battle, which is also recommended. So, yeah, I mean, obviously use your items in this fight. And this monster is called, hold on, let me find out. Excuse me. Bottomswell. Alright, I'll see you after this boss battle. Also, it's important to point out that you cannot attack it regularly unless you have a gun or a limit break. It's the only way you can attack it normally. Otherwise, use what I'm using. I'm using a summon, which is the only one I've got right now, the Choco Mago. I got that upstream because we've already seen that during this LP. As long awaited as it is, I apologize about that due to time and efforts and everything else. I've had to kind of slack off on this LP. So, there's all kinds of circumstances relating to that. Alright, see you momentarily. Also, since it's a flying enemy type kind of guy, yeah, don't use Quake. It has no effect. You can also use Bile on this. This is one of those times that will take Bile. Not always. And see, I was able to attack it because my normal attack wouldn't do anything. Now see, if Barrett would have had a gun on him, I could have done that. No one can attack him while he's in the air. See you later. Whenever you're pitting people get into a water boil, yeah, sometimes you don't have a choice but to let them die. Alright. You can always revive them though, because I have plenty of Phoenix Downs. Which is also important to make sure you have plenty of Phoenix Downs before you fight this fight. I'm going to let my characters just like die. Alright, see you later. Okay, that was a sucky fight. And I'm going to tell you why, because my character should not have died during that fight. We won anyway. I'm going to redo that battle again. I'm going to do it off screen. So, but, yeah, make sure you have plenty of Phoenix Downs, which I made sure I had before I even go on in there later. According to this, we're under Junion. Alright. Alright, we did it with everybody alive this time, which is important to do. You can do it with the bio. And I forgot, though, that because I had all on, I shouldn't have attacked all of us. I should have just attacked the bubble with the fire. It's been a long time since I have fought this fight, so you have to bear with me. You can actually use fire to destroy it. I should have used Since done it while I could, but I had no way of doing it. If I had like 3 of them, which not very many shops have Sense, and there's not much point in it. But either way, it's also not point of it because I don't have very many hot material slots, but I don't like to use it just for that anyway. So either way, I should also point out, though, that if you're going to have Sense, you shouldn't put it on someone who's going to use certain functionalities on enemies that otherwise would need to be used, enemy skills that we cannot otherwise get without, you getting them, that are not, they will never use. Anyway, see you later. Okay, I want to point out something here. That actually does not work. Normally, I have never seen this do this before. Where, like, in other words, if you let it go all the way to the top without pushing the square button, and then let it kind of restart over on its own, and then push it when it reaches just about nearly to the top, almost about a few seconds or whatever, yeah, it gets her to breathe again. I've never seen it do that in my entire life. So yeah, also, I don't know what episode we're on. I think we're on, episode 37, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so, Star Trek, Picard, which is an interesting series coming out. I'm not too happy with the whole idea that they're going to be canonizing the whole idea. I mean, it's not the fact that the ship shouldn't exist. It's the fact that it's like, okay, first of all, it looks like Voyager, which I have nothing against Voyager. Especially, I mean, I never even really had anything against it originally itself anyway, but it's just, series to me just didn't, have me interest into it until I finally was able to watch some episodes that got me really interested into it. And I guess I never just saw, but anyway. So, make a long story short, they don't even have the Enterprise anymore. Enterprise is like gone. Enterprise doesn't exist. And what happened to Enterprise E? The ship that everyone was supposed to be on, and Commander Riker, who's retired now, he's not even a commander anymore. He's like an admiral or higher, I don't know, or an ambassador. And I'll tell you, I mean, anyway, he's retired with Deanna Troi, which makes no sense, but so I guess even though that Riker's back, doesn't look like he's going to be commanding anything anytime soon. So Picard is the only one that's going to be leading a ship. And I can't tell you too much because I don't know much beyond that. So yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. The thing I want to know, which I guess gets more answered in Voyager, because apparently the war continues on. I did not know that when it came to, hang on a minute. Ugh, nasty water. Anyway, when it came to the Marquise, and the Cardassians. And I think it's odd how they show, excuse me. Anyway, how they show one Cardassian that died in the war. I like how they brought him back long enough to do that. Because, I mean, even though that during that time that ship didn't die, but he died. And, so, as far as I'm aware anyway. This character anyway. So, and, Chakotay, I know it becomes a commander, I just don't know when exactly, because I guess I wasn't paying attention to the entire show. I know that I've watched just about almost every one of them. Apparently I missed an episode I didn't even know was there. Either way, I'm going to catch up on it here pretty soon. But I just want to say, though, that here's the thing about the Maquis. You may have noticed this yourself if you've been watching, but if you've never even seen Star Trek Deep Space Nine, you wouldn't even know about the Maquis, because the Maquis didn't even start to become a thing until Deep Space Nine, which is another season later, and I forget when. It's like after, like, I think it's about, like, actually I do know. It's like after the fact of the Dominion starts coming in. And even though they have their hands tied going against the Dominion, well, And it's also after the fact that they acquire, which I did not really notice this, the Defiant. And I saw Defiant class ships, warships, at the end of Voyager. I was like, damn, that's interesting. How come I never noticed that before? So, either way, when you think about it, it's like that. Anyway, also, let me point out something as well. If you've not been watching, they've been through so many leaders that Maquis has, believe it or not. There's been Chakotay, which actually he was the last one. The first one was a dude who was an admiral, and I forget what his name was. The next one was a lieutenant who was the leader of it twice before he died. And then there was Riker's clone, which you wouldn't have known about Riker's clone unless you would have been following Star Trek TNG. Well, you would have known about it in Deep Space Nine, but if you wanted to get the whole full background story of it, you would have had to watch it during TNG, and it would have been an episode later, and I forget what episode it is, so don't ask me. It's been a while since I've even seen the show. I've seen every single last episode of the show anyway. Of the original TNG, The Next Generation. I'm not talking about Picard, because Picard doesn't have all that. But anyway, so... yeah, and then the last one was actually Chakotay. So yeah, even though they've had like another admiral that betrayed them, the Federation, this admiral did not go over to the Dominion. He didn't even go to the Maquis. He just plainly had to step down because he went above and beyond his jurisdiction, because he was wrong in that decision. I mean, while it was good of what his intentions were, for the most part, and you can definitely tell that they were genuinely mostly, good intentions, but it's what it resulted in that became the mistake when they did some things that should have never been done, like shutting down the power generator. I know it was just to prove a point because they were at odds with the shapeshifters. Shapeshifters kind of started it, to be fair, but whatever. But anyway, that's the way it rolls, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'll see you in a little bit. And yeah, by the way, she makes it, so Just if you know what I'm talking, if you don't know who I'm talking about, Priscilla. Hey, come in for a while, and of course she takes us in automatically. That's about the time that this becomes useful. So, and I apologize for the lack of voice acting and whatnot, and me skipping a bunch of dialogue, but don't worry, it'll come soon again that I will be voice acting, but so, anyway, it would be a good idea to rest at this point because you get dialogue. It reminds me, you again. Also, there's this voice in your head that says, you'll find out soon enough. Well, yeah, we will. I'm not going to spoil anything for you if you haven't already seen this. But if you haven't been paying attention to so many, and I mean so many people that have actually done this game, and you're following me, it's good, because you won't get a spoiler from me. Other than what's already been happening, so pretty much. Anyway, I'll see you later. The thing of it is that when they talk about where was Tippa other than that, I believe I know where she was at. According to this would have been a game that would have been created like after Dieter Cerberus, I think. I think that Dieter Cerberus came next. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, this game is a prequel to this game here, this original. It's called Crisis Core. And, and the reason they couldn't see each other alone was because of circumstance. And to be more specific, the reason is because, well, for one, you had the Tippa's dad, as I call her. I'm not going to call her that name, Tifa. I'm just going to call her based on how I knew her back then, because that's how I called her. I didn't know her name was Tifa until years later. I mean, far too damn late for me to change my damn mind. So anyway, Tifa, as I call her. Yeah, I mean, and then they had like so much going on, and basically, he was on a mission. He wasn't there to really see anybody. And the fact that it's kind of weird, though, that Tifa wasn't actually there in her house. It is weird now that you think about it. I mean, you didn't even get to see the father until some point in the game where he finally appears. It's like he's never in the house. I mean, at least during the time that we're that you actually can go to that point in time. The only time where he's actually around. And even further back, I don't think he was ever in the house. I don't know. I could be mistaken. I haven't really watched or read any mangas that says otherwise, but they might. All I know is that during this time, yeah, Cloud was there. But there's a problem with what was going on there. It's not to say that he wasn't there. It's the fact of how it actually happened. And if you remember the events where Cloud actually catches Tifa when she had a sword for the first time, and a hat, which you will never see afterwards, years later, which I don't know what the deal was that was with. I guess it was a point in life where she had a phase where she had to be a cowgirl with a sword. Because you can definitely tell that was a hat made for cowgirls, if you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, because, I mean, and the thing is, though, is that with Tifa, she's a hard case. And I'll tell you, I mean, Tifa is a character that you could never be without. I mean, she'll be there throughout the game, and you could choose to have her in your party at any time of the game. But I would definitely recommend leveling her up a little bit, at least throughout the game. Because if you don't, she won't mean much if you decide to use her for certain battles later. And I would recommend as well leveling up each and every character you get, whether they're optional or not. Like, there's characters that are not optional to the entire game. Like Cloud, Barrett, Tifa. Ares is not optional, except for the part of how to get her back. That's optional. But I've noticed that it can mess up your game. I've had it mess up my game. So, I've also seen where people can actually successfully pull it off and have her in their party. And it's weird. Like, for real. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to say, though, that with Tifa, she I don't know. The way they wrote this entire story in the game, you don't know what goes on. This is all part of the circumstance as well, because the way they wrote it out, it's like there was no time for them to be alone. There might have been one time in the entire moment of history, and that was when they were kids, when they were at the water wheel, and that was way back when, before he just joined the soldier. That was way back then. Anyway, I'm going to cut this off here, and I'll record another session afterwards. Later, bye-bye.